All right, so the Zoom Freak 1, which was Giannis's first signature sneaker with Nike, was honestly just pretty average. I mean, it wasn't a bad shoe, but it also wasn't really good either, both on and off of the court. I mean, the visual appeal of the Zoom Freak 1 was basically non-existent. It's a very acquired taste visually, and I personally didn't really see anyone rocking these off of the court anyways. But the on-court performance, I mean, there were a couple good things about it. The traction was good despite it using a dual rubber compound setup. And the cushioning did have double stacked zoom units in the heel, which was very comfortable, but there was nothing in the forefoot in terms of cushioning. And that was a huge complaint that people had about the Zoom Freak 1. Why would you give us 2 zoom units in the heel and nothing in the forefoot? It doesn't really make much sense. So with the sequel, which I have in this box and we're gonna unbox together today, Nike has listened to some of those criticisms, but they also increased the price of these. So I think this particular colorway retails for $130, but I think the base retail price for the Zoom Freak 2 is going to be only $120. It's just that this colorway is a little more special than the other ones, I guess. I don't really know, but I am excited to see how this shoe looks in person, because in photos, it was a pretty polarizing design. And I'm also really interested to see how they fit and how that new cushioning system feels underneath my foot. So let's get rid of the old ones and get into the new one. All right, so the box is actually exactly the same as the first one, except it's just black. You can see Antetokounmpo right there. You got the same pattern with the logo, and then you got the swoosh. Wow, pretty uninspiring actually. They just changed the box color, but whatever. Anyways, let's get into the shoe. All right, here they are. The Nike Zoom Freak 2 in the Naija colorway, I believe. It's a Nigerian inspired colorway, as you can see with the green color scheme, as well as, I'm assuming, this tribal pattern, or maybe it's a Nigerian pattern. I'm not really too familiar, but it seems like this pattern has to do with Giannis's heritage, which is from Nigeria, even though he grew up in Greece. So the first thing I'm noticing about this shoe is it's a lot more slimmer and a lot more refined than the Zoom Freak ones. I think the visual design is really appealing, at least to me. A lot of people don't like these. If you've joined the sneaker show, which we go live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific, we've talked about these quite a bit, and people seem to be 50-50 on these. Some people like them, some people hate them. I saw one person say that they kind of look like the PG1, and I'd have to agree with them. And everybody loved how the PG1 looked, so I don't know why people are hating on these. Maybe it's this colorway. However, there are a lot more clean colorways, like the one where Giannis is rocking in the bubble in Orlando. But I get it. This Nigerian colorway, it is an acquired taste. I really don't like how it has this bright green 34 on the medial side of the shoe. It just seems kind of tacked on there. It looks like a Nike by You option. I'm not totally opposed to the print on the upper as well. I think it's very unique. I think it's something we don't see on sneakers very often. It's just these bright green hints are what really is throwing me off about these. I'm not liking the bright green on this shoe at all. And then you have a different pattern on the tongue as well as on the collar area. And I don't know if those two patterns work well with each other, but you know, I do dig that Nike is paying homage to Giannis's heritage. I'm just not sure it totally comes out as a completely clean package. But again, visuals are all in acquired taste, and you might think completely different than I do. Now, one thing that I'm really excited about is if you take a look at the outsole, you can see that the front of the shoe is separate from the back of the shoe. And what this is, it's a decoupled design. And I love this feature, dating all the way back to like the Air Jordan 29. Even the Why Not 0.2s had a very similar design where the toe box can move independently from the heel. They're not really connected to each other, even though they still kind of are. This just gives you so much control out there on the floor. And the fact that Nike put Air Zoom in the front of the shoe is going to allow you to get the most out of that Zoom Air unit. So this is something that I'm really looking forward to out there on the basketball court. Whenever the gyms open, which who knows when that is going to be, but maybe I'll go outdoors and hoop in these outside, but hopefully this traction, you know what? It seems pretty durable. Now there's a lot of little nubs. There's not a whole lot of space here. Everything is pretty tight and compact, but the rubber compound seems to be surprisingly very durable, which is something that I don't really say very often for Nike basketball sneakers. So that's a pleasant surprise there. But again, this might change from colorway to colorway. I think the next colorway that's dropping, which is a black and white one, has a slightly tinted blue translucent outsole. So that rubber compound might not be as durable as this black one. But for this colorway, that rubber compound is surprisingly durable. Now, one thing that I was really interested to see was the materials on these, because from the photos, that's something that you can't really, you know, gauge how good or bad they are. But just from feeling them out right here, I mean, it's a similar setup to the first ones in that it looks like it's a mesh material, but if you rub your fingers across of it, you can kind of feel a slipperiness to it, which means there's most likely a thin plastic coating either within the mesh itself or right over the top of it. Now, this is gonna make it a little less breathable, but it's going to add slightly more durability as well as structure to the shoe, which I don't really think that these need, because you have this huge swoosh, which is also going to add to, you know, the structure and stability of it, as well as those overlays that we talked about earlier on the medial side of the shoe. But it is nice that this thin plastic coating's on there, because if you do a lot of toe drags, you know, it's going to protect the materials a little bit more. And Nike doubled down here with a thin fuse overlay on the medial side, which is pretty standard, but it's nice that it's there as well. Yeah, I'm trying to blow air through these materials and nothing's really getting through. So these aren't going to be the most breathable option on the market, especially when you take a look at the tongue. This is neoprene type material, which isn't that durable on its own. However, Nike has added some small perforations on the tongue, which will help a little bit. But overall, I think that the Zoom Freak 2 is not going to be a well-ventilated sneaker. But who knows, maybe when I get out there on the court, it'll be completely different. I don't know when that is, because all the gyms are closed. I haven't played 5-on-5 in a while. I'm going crazy. Have you noticed? Please, I just want to hoop. All right, so now let me put these on. I know you guys are wondering how they fit. Last year, the Zoom Freak one was a pretty standard fitting shoe. I'd recommend you just go true to size in those. But with the overall more slimmer build that the Freak 2s have to offer, I'm wondering if it's going to be a lot more narrow, because on the outside looking in, it is a slimmer looking shoe. So let's put these on and see how they feel and also how they look. All right, so just wearing them for a very short amount of time, I'd say that the fit, you should probably go true to size. It feels very similar to the first ones, even though, like I said, it looks like it has a much slimmer, a much tighter design visually. I think the fit is pretty comparable to its predecessor. So I would recommend you go true to size. Wide footers, you probably don't need to go up half a size. I think there's a lot of leeway in terms of the lacing system. This medial overlay, you could probably loosen this area a little bit more. You might have some rollover right here on the medial side, but that's probably something you're already used to as a wide footer. I do think if you went up a half a size, it would be a little bit too long for me. The toe box is perfect. There's a little bit of dead space in the front of the shoe, not on top, but in the front. And that's something that I personally like. I don't like my feet jamming into the front of the shoe, so I do appreciate that slight dead space in the front. But yeah, in terms of sizing, I think if you go true to size, you should be pretty good. Now, as for off-court appeal and how they look on feet, you guys are checking out the clips right now. So let me know what you think about these in the comments section below. Visually, for me, like I said, I think that this colorway is a misfire, but I do like the Freak 2 visually overall. I think the sculpted midsole design is great. I love the sharper lines. I love the slimmer look. I hope Nike puts these on Nike by You, because that would be incredible to create your own colorway of these, because I do think this shoe has the potential to look very, very nice both on and off of the court. And my favorite feature about these visually is that super oversized swoosh. I love how Nike is continuing to use that design philosophy in Giannis' signature line, because it makes sense. Giannis, in terms of, you know, his physical attributes, is larger than life. So having a super large swoosh It just makes a lot of sense. So that's something that I really like. Let me know what you guys think about these. Are you going to cop a pair for yourself? Let me know down below in the comment section. I can't wait to chop it up with you guys. There will be a full performance review on these, so subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and stay tuned for that video. My name is Jaron. It's been great having you. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.